I'm so glad that you were talking about Lincoln that's opening this weekend, because that's exactly the subject. That's what brings us here to this interview with Dave Leroy, a local Lincoln enthusiast. You've joined us on our show before. Thank you for coming this morning.
You're welcome, Spencer.
And we know that you've got a lot of historical background and studies on Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president. And so as a tie-in to the movie Lincoln, which is coming out, which I'm excited to see, you brought some artifacts here related to him. And we want to just talk a little bit about this as it will relate to this the president who will be the main character in this movie that's coming up. So tell us a little about what you brought.
Well, Idaho and Lincoln were closely connected. He, in fact, during the Civil War period, signed a bill that created Idaho Territory. And at the time Lincoln was elected, and when he signed that Idaho bill, there were 3 million Americans, literally or figuratively, in slave chains like this. The number of slaves in the country was that high, and slavery was protected by the Constitution.
Wow.
And so this movie deals with Lincoln's efforts to lobby the Congress after they had previously rejected it to pass the 13th Amendment by the 2/3 majority required. The Senate had passed it, the House had rejected it, and the movie brings us to the point where Lincoln is 2 or 3 votes short. He successfully, as we'll see in the movie, lobbies this. This is a treatment that has not been detailed in any previous cinema presentation. And so when he was successful...
That's where this one comes. I really like this artifact that you've brought in today.
This is a bronze cast of Lincoln's right hand, the hand with which he signed the 13th Amendment.
And you were telling me the 13th Amendment he didn't even have to sign once it was passed by Congress.
Correct. There's no place for a president to sign a joint resolution. But he felt so strongly, and that it was such an important act for the nation, that he took up his pen and in a blank spot in the paper signed Abraham Lincoln president before it was submitted to the states for their 3/4 ratification. This is the hand that did that.
Wow.
This is a cast from a plaster cast made when Lincoln was merely a candidate for president in 1860.
You told me the sculptor had some major foresight, thinking that this Abraham Lincoln character might amount to something someday, and that's why he did the cast of his hand before he was even president.
Absolutely true.
Neat stuff there. And this one as well, a newspaper clipping.
This is an image from an illustrated newspaper of the day of Lincoln being sworn in on March 4th, 1865. For his second inauguration, approximately 7 weeks or so after the Congress had passed the 13th Amendment, and just as the Civil War was truly winding down. He would be assassinated some month and a half later, but nevertheless, this was Lincoln at the height of his glory, just as he had completed the maneuvers that are detailed in this movie.
And pretty interesting thing to see everything that's coming on with this movie. Like you said, the detail of the movie is what's been undocumented before. That specific part with the, I guess, sounds like the House and the Senate are kind of disagreeing there, and that's what you'll be seeing in this movie.
Well, they are, and Lincoln, as the President of the United States, is compelled to lobby to get 2 or 3 more congressmen, and he uses some strong tactics to do so, as you can see from the trailer.
Because he feels
he's
so
animated, he's excited about it, and he offers and then delivers some political offices. He tells some half-truths. It's Lincoln in both his finest hour and perhaps his most political moment.
Interesting. I'm really excited for the movie, and thanks so much for bringing in these pieces of history to the show as well.
You're welcome.